Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-NextGen, SKYDRIVE SD5 makes public flight at Osaka Expo 2025. Hydrogen-powered R44 demonstrator takes maiden flight. And Primoco UAV's 150 gains NATO and EASA certifications. And I'm your host, Holland Lee. Welcome to the Aero-News Network's Airborne-NextGen program, a weekly news program covering the next generation of flight, from electric power to vertical lift, uncrewed vehicles, and everything in between. Let's get into today's stories. SKYDRIVE SD5 makes public flight at Osaka Expo 2025. Japanese eVTOL manufacturer SKYDRIVE announced that its SKYDRIVE SD5 model successfully performed a demo flight during Media Day on April 9th in Osaka, Kansai, Japan at Expo 2025, a worldwide event showcasing innovation and culture. The company also released recent footage of test flights and development work at its facility in Toyota City, Japan. SKYDRIVE was chosen in early 2023 as one of the eVTOL makers to take part in the Smart Mobility Expo under the Future Society Showcase project at the Expo. The company has spent the time since in development of its aircraft with the intention of performing demo flights at the Expo as an important milestone in moving the project forward. At the Expo, the SD5 aircraft flew at an altitude of 5 meters or 16 feet for about 4 minutes under the control of a remote pilot. The aircraft in the demo flight was built with the same design as the original prototype built earlier and seen in the flight test footage released by the company. Tomohiro Fukusawa, CEO of SKYDRIVE Inc., said, quote, "Since our founding, we have embraced the vision of Beyond Drive as we seek to lead the upcoming revolution in airborne mobility. In August 2020, we successfully conducted Japan's first ever public demonstration flight of an eVTOL," end quote. After the break, air-breathing engine for hypersonic missile successfully tested.
For over 30 years, the massive Sport Plane Resource Guide has provided expert, credible information, evaluations, and critical analysis of all that the sport aviation world has to offer. The all-new digital Sport Plane Resource Guide is coming with extensive multimedia features that are constantly updated, an even more comprehensive online guide to all things sport aviation. Available soon. www.sportplane.com.
Welcome back. Now for some shorter stories in our Next Gen Minute. Air-breathing engine for hypersonic missile successfully tested. American and British teams of researchers have recently completed hundreds of successful test runs of an air-breathing engine for a hypersonic cruise missile in what's being called a critical breakthrough in countering Russian and Chinese hypersonic missile threats. The static test runs were conducted at the NASA Langley Research Center in Virginia. More than 200 runs at a range of speeds that include Mach 5, or about 3,400 mph, were performed over a 6-week period. Mach 5 is considered the threshold for hypersonic speed. Ag Group urges UAS operators to give way to crewed aircraft. In preparation for the agricultural growing season in the U.S., the National Agricultural Aviation Association is urging all operators of uncrewed aerial systems to be aware of low-altitude manned aircraft operations. The group has issued a set of recommendations for drone operators to do everything possible to avoid manned aircraft conducting low-altitude operations. Every year, agricultural aviators apply seed, fertilizer, and crop protection measures to nearly 130 million acres of cropland in the U.S. Airbus chooses Astronautics' Aerosync MAX V3 for helo connectivity. Astronautics Corporation of America announced that it has been selected by Airbus to equip the H2-25M helicopters with its latest V3 version of Aerosync MAX, its dual-partitioned wireless airborne communication system, as a gateway to enable seamless secure data transmission and communication through embedded 5G, VoIP, VPN, and smart routing for both civilian and military missions. Airbus's H2-25M civilian and military programs are evolving the secure cross-domain gateway with the new addition of 5G cellular and Wi-Fi 6 connectivity. Blue Origin's New Glenn wins NSSL contract. Blue Origin announced the award of a contract from the U.S. Space Force Space Systems Command for its New Glenn heavy lift vehicle for a series of National Security Space Launch Phase 3 Lane 2 launches that require higher performance systems to deliver payloads to stressing orbits and assurance as a Space Systems Command certified launch vehicle. That's it for our Next Gen Minute. Let's get back to the rest of the news. Hydrogen-powered R44 demonstrator takes maiden flight. Unither Bioelectronics announced that its modified Robinson R44 helicopter made its airborne debut on March 27th. It was powered by PEM fuel cells and an electric motor, making it the first successful flight of a piloted hydrogen-powered VTOL. The company's hydrogen journey began nearly a decade ago with the goal of developing a zero-emission vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. This would be used to transport its manufactured organs to hospitals for transplant surgeries. To do so, Unither Bioelectronics partnered with Tier 1 Engineering on a set of battery-powered ER44s. The third-generation aircraft, using a Magni-X Magni 250 motor, took a cross-country flight in October 2022. However, Unither Bioelectronics eventually decided that their ER44s would not be capable enough to sustain longer missions. They ditched plans to gain an STC for the electric conversion and began looking for other sustainable power options. That's when the company set its sights on hydrogen fuel cells. Now, 10 months later, the modified R44 technology demonstrator has successfully taken to the skies. Its first flight, piloted by Rick Webb out of Quebec's Roland-Desordy Airport, lasted 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Unither Bioelectronics revealed the achievement at the VFS H2 Aero Symposium in Long Beach, California. After these messages, Primoco UAV's 150 gains NATO and EASA certifications.
Are you ready to ace your FAA drone pilot knowledge test, get your remote pilot certificate, and start earning money? Well, flying a drone is a great tool that can open up new business opportunities for anyone. Realtor, insurance adjuster, videographer, or commercial weekend drone warrior, you need to fly legally. Whether you're pursuing your initial Part 107 remote pilot certificate or you need a renewal, King Schools has a course just for you. So start learning today at kingschools.com.
Welcome back. Primoco UAV's 150 gains NATO and EASA certifications. Primoco UAV has received certification from both NATO and the European Union Aviation Safety Agency for its midsize vehicle 150 under a Light UAS Operator Certificate, the first UAV maker to gain both military and civilian certifications. The 150 model is reportedly the only UAV in its class to be certified under the NATO standard STANAG 4703. As an internationally recognized military standard, there's no further need for complex and lengthy approvals in every market, so NATO member states can deploy the 150 immediately. The certification process included 200 test verifications, more than 170 test flights, and 50 ground tests. The 150 has also secured the EASA Light UAS Operator Certificate at the SAIL 3 level, awarded by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Czech Republic. It enables the company to operate the vehicle over urban areas subject to specified risk mitigation procedures. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.